Mountains of Madness, Danforth's Tale. Chapter 1. The Expedition. The Arkham and Miskatonic were twin sentinels of civilization, cutting through the frozen waters of Antarctica. Sponsored by Miskatonic University in Arkham, Massachusetts, this expedition was heralded as a pinnacle of human achievement, a scientific mission to unlock the secrets of the Earth's most remote frontier. But as I watched the jagged peaks of the mountains rise against the horizon, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were trespassers, unwelcome in a place not meant for human eyes. The cold wasn't just a physical force, it was alive with silence, pressing against us like the weight of an ancient judgment. Chapter 2. The Call from Lake. It started with Lake's transmissions. His splinter group had gone ahead to investigate peculiar rock formations. At first, his voice crackled with excitement. "We've found fossils," he said. "Complex organisms, far more advanced than anything in the fossil record." The excitement turned frantic. Lake described barrel-shaped entities with starfish appendages and curious cones where heads should be. His words grew halting, and then the transmission stopped entirely. The silence that followed felt heavier than the frozen air around us. It wasn't just an absence of sound, it was the presence of something vast and unknowable. Dyer turned to the team, his face pale but resolute. "We're going to Lake's camp now!" Chapter 3. The Horror at Lake's Camp. We reached Lake's camp under a leaden sky. What we found wasn't a camp, it was a scene of destruction. Tents were shredded, their remains flapping in the wind. Blood stained the snow in streaks that seemed deliberate, as though arranged by something with a cruel intelligence. The dog teams were gone. No, worse. Their remains were scattered in spirals around the site, like some kind of alien offering, and of Lake's team there was no sign. Inside the main tent, we found Lake's discoveries. These barrel-shaped entities weren't fossils. They were flesh, frozen, ancient, but undeniably organic. One had been dissected, its organs spread out with horrifying precision. Lake's notes described them as elder things, beings that predated humanity by millions of years. Scrawled in the margin of his journal was a final, frantic note: "Not dead, only sleeping." Tracks led away from the camp toward the mountains, tracks too large, too strange to belong to anything human. Chapter 4. The City in the Mountains. The mountains rose like a wall of jagged teeth, their peaks disappearing into swirling clouds. At their base we found the city. It was vast, alien, and utterly incomprehensible. Its spires twisted into shapes that defied logic, its angles painful to look at. Inside, the carvings on the walls told a story of horror and futility. The elder things were not gods, but ancient travelers who had come to Earth from the stars. They built this city, shaping life itself in their laboratories. Humanity was an accident, a forgotten byproduct of their experiments. But the murals didn't end there. They spoke of rebellion. The Shoggoths, monstrous, amorphous slaves created by the elder things, had risen against their masters. Their revolt had drowned the city in chaos, leaving only silence and death in its wake. Chapter 5. The Shoggoths. As we descended deeper into the city, the air grew heavy, suffocating. It was more than physical. Something oppressive and ancient was pressing down on us, as if the walls themselves were alive. Then we heard it, a wet, grinding noise, echoing from the depths. It was coming closer. We turned a corner and saw them. The Shoggoths, multiple, massive, glistening masses of black chaos, slithered toward us. Their surfaces rippled with shifting eyes that opened and closed, watching us with a malice that was almost sentient. They moved like liquid, flowing over the ancient stone faster than anything that size should be able to move. They were many, a swarm of living chaos, consuming everything in their path. We ran. The Shoggoths pursued, their amorphous forms crushing stone and devouring the space behind us. I could feel their presence pressing against my mind, unraveling my thoughts. They weren't just chasing us, they were erasing the city itself, consuming it piece by piece. Chapter 6. The Final Vision. We stumbled into the open air, gasping and trembling as the dawn began to break. The Shoggoths did not follow, but their grinding roars echoed in my mind as we climbed into the plain. As we soared over the mountains, I made the mistake of looking back. Through the swirling clouds, I saw something. I can't describe it. Not truly. It wasn't a shape or a being. It was a presence, a truth too vast for my mind to contain. My thoughts buckled under its enormity. It was not meant for human eyes, and yet I had seen it. In that moment, the thin veil of my sanity began to tear. I screamed, clutching my head as the realization of what was to come overwhelmed me. "Don't look back," Dyer said, his voice trembling. "Don't ever look back." Chapter 7. The Aftermath. I don't know how we made it back to the Arkham. I don't remember the journey home. All I know is that I couldn't stop shaking, not from what I had seen, but from the grim certainty of what was to come. The Shoggoths will not stop. They will devour the Elder Things city, consuming every spire, every corridor, until there is nothing left of their ancient creators. But it will not end there. The Shoggoths are creatures of endless hunger and infinite adaptability. They will spread, moving beyond the ruins of the city, beyond the mountains, and into the world. Dyer, grim-faced and trembling himself, spoke as we approached the coast. "We have to get back to Miskatonic University. The world needs to know, but not in panic. If we can bring this knowledge to the scientists, the investigators there, maybe they can find a way to stop it. Maybe there's a way to save us from what's coming." I nodded, though I didn't believe it. The mountains are not silent. They are the prelude to our end. But Dyer clung to hope, and I had no choice but to follow him back to the only place that might hold answers, if answers exist at all. Cthulhu. Death may die,